First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Alachua County residents brought up the issue of the Confederate monument during public comments at today's commission meeting. That's our top story tonight. Good evening. It's Tuesday, July 14th. I'm Jenna Sands.
And I'm Marie Edinger. Thanks for joining us. Following the protests about the statue last week, today the county commissioners heard concerns from both sides at their public hearing. WUFT's Jonathan Munoz joins us now in the newsroom. Jonathan, you were monitoring the meeting today. What did residents have to say?
Well, the County Commission opened up public comment at 9:30 this morning, and as they were expecting, people used the time to talk about the Confederate monument.
After last week's protest in front of the Alachua County Administration building, the debate continues over what to do with the Confederate monument that stands near the intersection of University Avenue and Main Street. The protest brought about 150 people to the Alachua County Administration building from both sides. Today, during public comments at the County Board of Commission's regular meeting, residents spoke up about their concerns regarding the monument. One was a member of the chapter of the Daughters of the Confederacy, the group that put the monument up, and she spoke about the statue's unveiling.
There was a Union veteran there, and they had some of the Confederate veterans come over and hug them and shake hands and say, yeah, we were foes, but now we're brothers forever.
However, some say it doesn't represent the current Alachua County population.
It may have been appropriate at the time the statue was erected, and it may have represented a vast majority of the people of Alachua County, but that was then and this is now.
And some pointed to the monument not being a symbol of the Civil War, but a tribute to veterans.
Memorial Wall of Vietnam is a statue to veterans, not to the war. If you go to the wall, the Vietnam Memorial, does that mean you believed in the war?
However, opponents point out to one quote on the statue which they say makes it more than just a memorial. They counted the cost in defense of right, which some suggest signifies support for the cause, not just the soldiers.
To have those words on that statue representing my town, saying that he fought for what was right, he fought for the right of the South to have slaves, I think it's divisive.
Because of the time restraints, not everyone who wanted to speak on the matter was able to, but public comments will open again this evening. Reporting from the newsroom, Jonathan Munoz, WUFT News.
Thanks, Jonathan. I got caught in the rain earlier today, and you'd think I'd finally learn.
Really, I managed to just barely escape it. UF forecaster Rebecca Kopelman joins us now from the Weather Center, where she's keeping an eye on another round of storms. Rebecca?
We did have some dry time for today, but now a few more showers and storms are starting to pop up on storm track radar. One cell in Gilchrist County right now will start to move to the about north and east towards the city of High Springs within the next half an hour, and will continue to move towards Alachua County. Could skirt, if it becomes more in strength, the north side of Gainesville, but Buda 532, Clark 533, and further north, another cell over Lake City right now and in portions of I-10 and I-75. To the north of I-10 is where I'm keeping an eye on some additional activity for tonight that will start to push southeastward and could be in areas just to the south of I-10 for this evening, where additional stronger storms will be possible, but for the rest of the night, most areas dry by 10 o'clock tonight.
So, Rebecca, some areas saw rain early this morning. Are we expecting that again tomorrow?
Actually, there is a higher likelihood of more people seeing some showers and storms to kick off the day west of I-75 for the morning commute. I'll track that for you in my main weather forecast.
Rebecca. The city of Palatka launched the St. John's River Center today.
Professionals, children, and other community members gathered to celebrate the opening and learn about the center's vision. Alexandra Pena joins us now in the studio. What's the main goal of the center?
Well, the center really has many purposes, but the overall goal is to celebrate the unique ecosystems of the St. Johns River and its surrounding wetland areas as well. Although the project is mainly focused on educating young people, the center is designed to serve all members of the community. The center is a collaborative project between the city of Palatka and Georgia Pacific Palatka Pulp and Paper Operations. The project began as an effort to meet the requirements of a Florida Environmental Resource Permit, which called for the creation of an environmental education and outreach center. The original vision was just to offer something along the lines of an interactive educational boardwalk on the river. However, as the plan developed, Georgia Pacific decided to go above and beyond the permit requirements.
Serves two purposes: an ecotourism center and a center for promoting all of the ecotourism activities in the area, but primarily it's for classrooms in our school district and others in the area for teachers to bring in their students.
Overseen by the Department of Environmental Protection, Georgia Pacific funded the project and decided what the educational content would be. The land for the center was donated and will be maintained by the city.
This project is such a great example of a public-private partnership, and here the Georgia Pacific and the city of Palatka really joined forces to create what you see as a community resource.
Inside, attendees can find exhibits, a wetland education classroom, activity guides, and information about other local ecotourism opportunities. An outdoor learning environment is also available. The center hopes the beautiful location here on the St. Johns River will help draw members of the community so that they can learn about the importance of wetlands and caring for our environment. Officials say the center is also as environmentally friendly to the river as possible. The surrounding gardens filter rainfall and reintroduce it back into the river, and the benches are made from reclaimed wood from the local river basin.
I think from an economic perspective, this becomes maybe a destination for folks to spend some time, for kids to come with their classes, for teachers to spend time, and all those things I think are good for Palatka, for the economy, and for the future.
All those who helped create the center are confident it will positively impact visitors and the river ecosystem. The St. Johns River Center is located on the corner of Memorial Drive and St. Johns Avenue in Palatka. It will be open year-round, Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and closed daily between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. for lunch. For more information, visit palatka-florida.gov.
Thanks, Alexandria. Alachua County students have again outperformed their peers across the state and the nation in their AP and SAT scores. The state passing rate for advanced placement exams was 50%, while the global rate was 58%. Alachua County clocked at 63%, and high school students who earn scores of 3 or higher on their AP tests can earn credit for those courses in college and opt out of the classes in the future. Florida's First District Court of Appeals is considering the question of whether or not guns can be allowed on college campuses. The group, Florida Carry, maintains people have a legal right to possess firearms in their homes, including university housing. However, the University of Florida's attorney argues that homes on campus are more sensitive and not equal to homes outside of the university's property. There's no indication yet as to when the court will make a decision.
Some Gainesville police officers helped feed the young men at Reichert House today. 9 new GPD hires served lunch to more than 100 kids. A member of the kitchen staff recently passed away, so the new hires stepped in and filled the void. The intervention facility is dedicated to teaching at-risk youth valuable life skills and creating a positive relationship with law enforcement.
Unfortunately, a lot of our kids have a bad perception of officers sometimes. And a lot of times it's not because they've been directly involved. It's because of the things that have happened in the community or people that they've heard and family members. So they get an opportunity to build a good rapport with our law enforcement agency here at Reichert House.
On Sunday, 40 students in the program will travel to the Marine Corps Recruit Depot on Paree Island, South Carolina. They'll spend a weekend at the base living life as new recruits.
An investigation is underway in an Amtrak train accident that killed a woman in her car. The train originated in Miami yesterday and was heading to New York with 262 passengers and 13 crew members on board when it hit the car. Officials say the railroad crossing arm was down in the position at the time of the impact. A witness reported that the train was slowing down as it struck the car. One person aboard the train suffered from minor injuries, and the train was cleared to leave the scene last night. WUFT News First at 5 is just getting started, and coming up, the follow-up to a classic American novel hit shelves today, and the author's hometown celebrates its release.
Plus, a deal has been reached with Iran on its nuclear program. We'll have those stories and more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Go Set a Watchman, Harper Lee's follow-up to her classic To Kill a Mockingbird, is now available in bookstores. Residents of Harper Lee's hometown Monroeville celebrated the release with a reading of the novel. Monroeville is a town of about 6,000 people, and some expressed concern about how Atticus Finch, one of the characters in both novels, is portrayed in the second book. Critics say he was both racist and sexist, but others are saying that they are missing the point.
As Scout would say, you have another think coming if you think that's all there is to this novel.
As the fanfare took place around Monroeville, Harper Lee quietly spent her day at this assisted living center, with guards on the front porch keeping away reporters and anyone trying to contact her. Some say Lee was manipulated into publishing the sequel that was originally rejected by her editor more than 50 years ago. And since it's Tuesday, that means we'd like to spend a little extra time talking politics.
That's right, and this week we're joined by Kirsty Crawford. Kirsty, what are some of the biggest stories this week?
Well, ladies, the United States announced today it's reached a nuclear deal with Iran after years of negotiating. The historic announcement has sparked some sharp criticism from Congress as well as our allies in the Middle East. NBC News correspondent Edward Lawrence has the details in Washington.
President Obama says a deal with Iran over nuclear weapons outweighs the alternative.
Because an Iran armed with a nuclear weapon would be far more destabilizing and far more dangerous to our friends.
Secretary of State John Kerry led marathon negotiation sessions with 5 other superpowers and Iran.
The United States doesn't lose anything, Andrea, by giving them the opportunity to prove this is a peaceful program. What's the alternative? Go to war now?
Kerry says the deal with Iran to abandon its military nuclear program in exchange for lifting crippling sanctions is under attack by people who don't know the terms of the agreement.
It looks very much like they made a worse deal than even we had feared.
This deal is not built on trust. It is built on verification.
Iran remains on the list of state sponsors of terrorism and has ignored agreements over its nuclear program in the past. Leaders of Israel, Saudi Arabia, and other Middle East allies condemn the deal.
This cash bonanza will fuel Iran's terrorism worldwide.
President Obama called the Israeli prime minister to ease his fears, concerns echoed by some members of Congress.
It's going to hand a dangerous regime billions of dollars in sanctions relief while paving the way for a nuclear Iran.
The president needs Congress to sign off in order to lift economic sanctions on Iran. I'm Edward Lawrence, NBC News, Washington.
Greek lawmakers arrived at Parliament today for party meetings as Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras tried to rally support for the preliminary financial rescue deal. The government must pass a raft of measures through Parliament by Wednesday night, including consumer tax increases and pension reforms, in order to start negotiations with European creditors on a third bailout worth as much as $95 billion. Tsipras is expected to have the numbers in Parliament to pass the measures, since he will have the support of most opposition parties. Observers say Tsipras can either agree to the deal that tramples on practically all of his pre-election promises, or see his country's banks collapse and Greece crash out of Europe's joint currency. Thousands of people marched through downtown Winston-Salem, North Carolina last night and rallied for voting rights. The march ties into the start of the federal voting rights trial that began yesterday in the city. A judge will determine if the reduction of the number of early voting days, as well as ending same-day registration during early voting, is unconstitutional. Civil rights activists say the new laws discourage minorities from voting, while state officials say they were enacted in order to combat voter fraud. The trial is expected to last up to 3 weeks. Despite heavy criticism for his comments about illegal immigration, Donald Trump's presidential campaign is still picking up steam. Over the weekend, Trump had to move a campaign event in Phoenix to a bigger space because so many people wanted to go. The Phoenix ballroom was packed with about 4,500 people and only about 20 protesters. The protesters carried a banner and shouted, "Stop the racism, stop the hate," in reference to Trump's painting many Mexicans, undocumented immigrants, as rapists and criminals. Trump was not at a loss for words as the protesters were hustled out, saying he thinks the Mexican government sent them over. Yet Trump still believes he will win the Latino vote.
Thanks, Christy. Well, usually during Florida summers, we come to expect those afternoon showers, but that hasn't been the case lately.
No, this week they've been showing up at all times of day. Rebecca, can we expect this more random pattern to continue?
Does seem like it's been pretty random over the past couple of days. It is unusual, and that is actually going to be continuing. It's due to an unusual front for July that's approaching the area. I'll let you know how long you'll need to keep the umbrellas handy after the break. showers and storms moved through North Florida earlier on today, and I'm tracking the possibility of another round this evening. Welcome back. I'm UF forecaster Rebecca Kopelman. And right now, some activity starting to pop on storm track radar in Gilchrist County, starting to inch into portions of Alachua County, will likely skirt the south side of High Springs. Also further to the north near Lake City, a storm developing there with some heavy rainfall and frequent lightning. This activity continuing to push to the south and east over the next couple of hours, and I'm anticipating some additional activity later on tonight. That's due to some showers and storms in the Panhandle and portions of South Georgia that are going to continue to make their way south and east and could bring some additional activity to areas just south of I-10, Lake City, Stark areas there, possibly just northern portions of Alachua County. And we did have some dry time, so that's why there could be this additional activity, because we weren't able to completely stabilize our atmosphere. We did have a downpour come through the Gainesville Regional Airport and on campus that knocked our temperatures, kept them below the 90-degree mark, but now as of 5 o'clock, our temperature is back to 91 and the feels like value, the heat index, at 98 degrees. So we're still unstable enough for a few showers and storms to be possible. The higher chances, though, are going to be to our north and east and portions of Jacksonville, Duval County as these showers and storms move through. Most areas, however, will be dry by 10 o'clock tonight. Can't rule out a few showers sneaking as far south as Gainesville, and some of these cells could also contain some gusty winds, frequent lightning, and some heavy rainfall. Otherwise, dry by that 10 o'clock hour, temperatures falling quite muggy, 75 Gainesville, 77 Lake City, 77 in Jacksonville. And to start off your day, there could be a few showers for your morning commute. Areas now in Marion County could see some rainfall as early as 5 o'clock. I think close to that 8 o'clock hours, you're heading out for work, 7, 8 o'clock, there could be a few showers along the Nature Coast. Closer to 10 o'clock and 11 is when there could be showers and storms entering the I-75 corridor, Lake City, Gainesville, Ocala, pushing towards the east, but likely continues on and off and could become strong by 3 o'clock and a bit more widespread across the area. Areas east of I-75, that's where there could be some stronger activity with frequent lightning and gusty winds. And around your commute, starting to dry out in some spots, but still some heavy rainfall in portions of Lake City near I-10. And this pattern is going to continue because of this unusual front that's approaching the area, going to continue to increase moisture out of the Gulf and lead to early start times, an unusual pattern to the rainfall. So here's your Thursday, rain spreading overhead in the morning, continuing on and off, could be heavy at times as well. So your 6-day forecast is in fact a stormy one, the heaviest and the highest chances for rain on Thursday with increased rain chances through Monday. Back to you.
Thank you, Rebecca. SEC Media Days continued in Hoover, Alabama today.
4 teams met with the press today. WFT sports anchor Connor Ingalls joins us now.
Hey ladies, among those teams was the Tennessee Volunteers. We'll have what Vols coach Butch Jones said about the expectations at UT for this season. Also, the U.S. men's soccer team wrapped up group play at the Gold Cup last night. All of that and more in sports after the break. Welcome back to sports. I'm Connor Ingalls. The Florida Gators' biggest goal this season will be to win the SEC East for the first time since 2009. While Missouri has won it 2 years in a row and Georgia is always near the top, some teams think the favorite to take the East in 2015 is Tennessee, although the Vols themselves haven't won it since 2007. UT head coach Butch Jones was front and center at SEC Media Days just about an hour ago. He spoke about the new belief in his Tennessee team.
This year is different for each and every player in our football program, but really that's what you want. You want the expectations to be exceptionally high. That's why they chose to come to Tennessee to play in a program that has high expectations, but the expectations will never be as high as they are internally, and we have very high expectations for this football team.
Jones and the Vols will open up their season on September 5th when they battle Bowling Green in Nashville. A lion among ladies is a most dreadful thing. Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Zach Greinke among hitters is also a most dreadful thing to those facing Greinke. That's why he's getting the start in tonight's Midsummer Classic. The Los Angeles Dodger has a 1.39 ERA, tops in baseball, as he leads the National League into the All-Star game. Greinke in the NL will be attempting to win for the 4th time in 6 tries against the American League. For the AL, it'll be Dallas Keuchel of the Houston Astros on the bump. Keuchel is tied for 2nd in the majors with 11 wins on the year. The 86th MLB All-Star Game starts at 7 tonight in Cincinnati. While the game is tonight, All-Star festivities in Cincy began yesterday with the Home Run Derby. The league moved to a new timed format, causing many to be skeptical heading into the event. But after last night's show, most would agree the MLB knocked it out of the park. In the semifinal round, Cincinnati Red Todd Frazier ropes this one over the rail at the buzzer to move past Josh Donaldson, so the hometown hero advances to the final. On the other side of the bracket, it's Albert Pujols. He needs another homer to tie Jock Peterson, but he comes up just short. Time runs out, setting the stage for a Frazier-Peterson final. And when Jock comes out, he just yokes it. Back, gone. 14 bombs for Peterson, so it's got to be his crown, right? Not on Frazier's watch. Ties it up at 14 apiece, coming up with this blast out to left, with just seconds remaining. Frazier gets 30 seconds of extra time, though, needing one home run to win it. Only takes him a few seconds, though. No doubt, like Gwen Stefani's group, Frazier gets it done, walking off in front of the home crowd. The U.S. men's national soccer team is looking forward to the quarterfinal stage at the CONCACAF Gold Cup after completing group play last night. USA taking on Panama after winning their first 2 Gold Cup matches. In the 34th minute, it's Panama coming through with the goal to take a 1-0 lead. We get an intricate little celebration here from Blas Perez, and the U.S. trail for the first time in Gold Cup play. But they respond in the 55th minute. The captain, Michael Bradley, nets it on a great feed from Alejandro Bedoya, so we're all tied at 1. Moving all the way to extra time now. Panama gets a shot with just seconds remaining for the win, but it's Brad Guzan with an easy save, and that would do it as time runs out. So the U.S. pick up a draw, but leave group play undefeated.
So, Connor, what's next for the U.S. men's team?
Well, they don't know who they're going to face in the quarterfinal. It's going to be the third-place team from either Group B or Group C, but I can tell you that match is going to take place in Baltimore on Saturday.
We'll have to catch the game this weekend. Thanks, Connor. One last look at the weather forecast after the break.
Stay with us. NASA's New Horizons probe zoomed past Pluto this morning as scientists in Maryland celebrated the historic occasion. The spacecraft traveled within 7,800 miles of Pluto's surface as it snapped pictures and took measurements. Scientists at the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab were jubilant, waving American flags as New Horizons made its flyby. That craft took off in January of 2006, back when Pluto was still a planet. NASA scientists say they expect to see more detailed photos from Pluto sometime tomorrow morning.
And before we go, one last check on the weather.
Here's Rebecca.
There is a cell right now just to the south of High Springs, also moving to the east of Lake City, watching this area in the Panhandle for some additional showers and storms later on tonight. Higher chances are going to be to the north and east of Alachua County through the 10 o'clock hour. Then most areas will start to dry out. However, some of these cells could contain some gusty winds, frequent lightning, and heavy rainfall. You can check in with us at ufweather.org. We'll be tracking those storms, and you can track with us for tonight. Your 6-day forecast showing elevated rain chances above average rain chances, better chances from 11 to 4 for areas along I-75, but closer to the Nature Coast in the morning, there could be a few showers and storms for your morning commute. You can check in with us on the website as well for the latest on that. Greater chances come on Thursday, possibly several rounds heavy at times, and elevated rain chances continue with a slight lowering of our rain chances for the weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thank you at home for watching WUFT News First at 5. We'll see you again tomorrow, but you can always get more for WUFT News at WUFT.org.
Here on WUFT TV, BBC World News is up next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7 o'clock. Good night.